Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my watch list for April 1st, 2019. Okay, taking a look at the SPY futures here right now, we are having a major gap up. Okay, currently sitting at this 28.56 level and consolidating. So this kind of puts us up in relation to the SPY right here where I marked off this blue line here. Now, where is this? Let's take a look here on the big picture here on the SPY. Okay, last week we had a test of the breakout and we broke out and failed. Now we are over again, and right now we're gapping up a little bit above. Going into the daily chart real quick, this blue line is where we're gapping right under, a little bit under this blue line. So tomorrow I'm anticipating that we're going to open with a gap up at around the 284 on the SPY here. What I want to see, this is a pretty big gap up. What I want to see is a nice pull to close the gap a little bit and see if we can find some support around this 283 area and then bounce from there if the market is supposed to be strong. So I'm going to mark that off in a greenish color here. Just give me a sec. So because of this massive gap up, I do anticipate a little pull at the open right back down to this 283 level. Okay, right here I'm looking at this candle opening price 283.22. Okay, and from there, if it holds, then we should get a test of this 285.20s area, and from there, does it break or does it fail? We don't know, but this is the key support and resistance I'm looking at tomorrow. We are sitting right at the blue line here. Okay, so if this fails, we're coming right back down to yesterday on Friday. So going into the minute chart here, let's take a look at the 1 minute chart. Okay, so once again, we are a little bit around the 284 area. I'm looking for a gap down, a dip at the open to fill the gap around this 283 area. Okay, probably 283.20. Okay, perhaps if it fails some more, then it'll test the highs of Friday, and then from there, come right back up to test perhaps the highs. Okay, or we can open, rip, and then hit this, bump its head here on last week's highs, and then fail right back down. Okay, so there are definitely a lot of possibilities. SPY is definitely a ranger and can be a good play tomorrow on the ETF side. Okay, now I have a few tickers, actually quite a lot of plays for tomorrow, but my main play is KMX. Okay, and the reason why my main play is KMX, personally, I think this is one of the more easier play. It fits right into my my edge or my go-to setup. Okay, we had a positive earnings reaction on KMX, CarMax, and the stock, once it broke above this 200 SMA, the investors were cheering for it and they were buying this up. Now this 200 SMA is right at the 68.50 area. Okay, so right here, as you can see, it after the rip, it dipped and held, and then it got bought up. Basically, a bid held this bid over here. Looking on the intraday chart on the 1 minute span, right? You can see that the bid held. So this is a very solid support area in my opinion for the stock. Okay, I personally want, if I do get a chance to see it come down and hold around this 68.50s area, I do want to try to get long. Furthermore, I want to talk about the 69 area as well here real quick. So let's zoom out and get back in a little bit. 69 right here. Okay, so around 68.75 to 69, right about there. Okay, I'm zooming in here. during 11:30, around the 11:30 area, as you can see, the algos kicked in after its first run up. The algos kicked in, and it basically somebody was turned on the algo and started buying and accumulating shares here around the 69 area, and then eventually ripped from there. So 69 is also a nice support level that I'll be looking at here. And finally, the stock did run all the way to the highs of 71, which is a nice resistance area that we can mark off. It's a nice whole number. Okay, from 71 on, I want to take a look here at the 72 as well. Okay, the 72 is basically the high of October here. As you can see, let me zoom in on a daily chart. So overall, on the big picture, this is where it hit its head and started failing last year, right? So if I zoom out a little bit, you know what? Let me blow this up. Okay, so you see that on the big picture, KMX was failing on this double top last year. Zoom out a little bit more. So it's been failing from last year, and on this double top, it tested the 72, which is a very key level. All right, and as it comes up here, you can see there was a very tight range that the stock could not get out of. And we are right back into this range right here, okay, between the 200 SMA to the highs here. Now, I think there are a lot of bag holders here on this who bought this range from last year, who bought this 71 breakout, and they held the bag, and basically they're still long-term holding. If the stock does test this 71 and fail, then I would like to take a short here. However, if it hits 71 and breaks out, I'll be looking at 72, okay, for short. And I just don't think the stock can get above 72 tomorrow. Not saying that the possibility is not there, but we are back into this range here of indecisiveness, and the stock has ran a long ways, right? Looking at this a few weeks in advance, prior to earnings, people were buying in on it, and then they just hit the jackpot. So it doesn't look like they have sold out as of right now. But if the stock does pop up into 71 and reviews to break out, I think these guys will get out and start selling as well. As you can see, short sellers started to pile in, and algorithm wise, you can see right here, right along the 70, 75s area. Every time it popped, it got sold, pop, got sold, pop, it got sold, and then finally it failed. So there's a algorithmic seller right here from 70, 75 all the way up to 71. I really like this resistance area. Currently, the stock is sitting at around the $70 mark. So I'll be expecting cover pop tomorrow, and a short from these areas. The average true range for this stock is $1.95, so you can most definitely capture a few points off this stock, with the volume being very high right now, and the stock is very in play because of news catalyst, high relative volume, easy to understand algorithmic resistance here right at this area, and easy to understand support here. So I like to play within this range here tomorrow on KMX, and that's my main play. Next up, LYFT, LYFT. For LYFT, we don't need to pay attention to the daily chart yet, as this is an IPO and it really doesn't have any type of record to or history yet to trade off of. However, we do have a very predominant downtrend here. Basically, I made a recap video of LYFT IPO and how I traded it. I personally think the stock is overvalued, and obviously the market thinks so as well. They initially expected the IPO pricing to be at $72. So until it actually reaches 72, I'm going to keep my short bias on the stock. We have some key levels of resistance. As you can see, right here on the 5-minute chart is what I was playing off of. Okay, we had a nice massive sell-off right at the open, and then eventually it reversed. It broke the downtrend, started reverse and grinded up a little bit. And once this uptrend consolidation snapped, the stock started following the downtrend again. Now, I understand there are short locates available, and for people who might be covering tomorrow at the open, if it doesn't drop, then I'll be looking for a cover pop. First of all, at anywhere from 79 to 79.30s, because I talked about how the 30-cent mark played really well. And then another resistance level is from the $80 mark, which is a key psychological whole number, and it took a few tries to snap it, and all the way to $80.30 right here, which is the top of this 5-minute candle right here. Okay, so I'll be looking for a pop and a drop. As we go down, I'll be looking to take profits from every $2.50 area. So 77.50 is a key area here. 75 is a key area. Expect 72.50 to be a key area. And because it is a very highly anticipated IPO, I've been reading the news, and people are still pumping it. Like overall, the market, CNBC and stuff, they're still pumping it, and they're still very excited about it. So if it does get back up to 79 and watch for signs of holding, right, you can definitely try along and bring it all the way back up. The final resistance area, I would say, would be the 82 to 82.30. Okay, so right about here, this is the key resistance, in my opinion, as it tested and failed, right? So we have 3 levels of resistance. Also mark off 81 as well. Yeah, why not? Also mark off 81. So 4 levels of resistance, and I think the stock is going to have a hard time getting back up. But I am anticipating a pop tomorrow, especially with the gap up of the market overall, and all these short sellers piled in. A cover pop would be pretty nice and expected. Okay, so that's LYFT. Next up, Restoration Hardware, RH. As I was trading this on Friday, I was on the phone and talking to my friend, my trading buddy, and I was saying, oh, I need to find a way to get in because I know RH is going to be an all-day fader. Unfortunately, I was only able to capture a few points off this. I wasn't able to take the full move, but tomorrow I am looking for second day play, a continuation as the stock closed so weak. However, because it has sold off so much, I wouldn't expect it to come down too much. Perhaps a consolidation day and a sideways chop day tomorrow. So looking at this right now, key resistance I'm looking at, I'm expecting a pop and drop. So a cover pop at the open right into this 104 area. So anywhere from 104 to 103.85. Right here, we have a nice resistance zone. And on the daily chart, you can actually see that as well. So let's mark that off. There's 103.85 and there's 104. It's pretty tight here on the daily chart. As I zoom out here, you see it's the bottom of these 2 massive down draws. Right now we're trading a little bit under it, so this is now major resistance. As I zoom out a little bit more, you can see how this spot really played well as resistance level. If this breaks out, the next level of resistance will be at 105. Okay, where it snapped hard. It tested and snapped, And from there, we have 106 as well. So 3 levels of resistance I'll be looking for. 106 is 106 is significant. Let me see where it is here. Right here. No. Huh. Actually, yeah. A little bit above. So anywhere from 106 to 106.25. So key resistance areas here, looking for pop and drop, and bring it down to, it looks like it wants the 100, perhaps even as far as 97.25. So, oh, sorry, 97.50. So taking a look at that. Okay, zooming in here a little bit. If we are at 103, okay, so we're at around this area. 102.65 was the low of Friday, I believe. Oh, even lower. 102 was the low of Friday. So if we do drop this 102, this candle right here, if we do drop this 102, there isn't much holding it up all the way down to 97.50s. So 97.50s around this area. So this is yesterday's lows, 102. Okay, so still looking for some more continuation. A pop and drop would be nice. Otherwise, it might just chop back and forth around this area. Okay, so that's Restoration Hardware. ROKU. ROKU, I talked about the 95 a lot for the past few watch lists, as I talked about this area. Basically, I saw algorithm selling, right? And then the next day, it dumped from here as well. And then this day, they came down a little bit on it. And then from here, it tried to test the 95 and failed again. Sorry, the 65. So obviously, the 65 is going to be a very key resistance area I'll be watching. The way I traded ROKU on Friday was right here. I saw 64.75 algorithm selling, and then I basically shorted it, and I got an average of 64.57. And then from here, I just let it ride down all the way to the support here at 63.75. That was my trade. That was my trade from right here. Literally, I believe I got it around here, and I rolled it all the way down, and that was it for my trade. Overall, ROKU, interesting chart, right? We know there are sellers here at the 65, and then we know on Friday, 64.75, the sellers are stepping back in around this area. Okay, now the stock is trading a little bit below it. Okay, as long as these sellers continue to hold tomorrow, my thesis is going to still be short. But with the market gapping up and with the market being so strong tomorrow, and looking overall at this daily chart, this does have some squeeze potential. Okay, so if it breaks out 65 and starts holding, I'm going to switch my bias and go long. As you can see, 65, a lot of short sellers piled in on the 27th and the 28th. Okay, and perhaps yesterday on the 29th as well. So if this 65 breaks out and holds, it's going to rip, and there's going to be a nice squeeze, perhaps up to 67. So watch out for that. So that's the 4 main plays I have for tomorrow. As far as side watches go, some nice ideas here. Apple, very bullish looking candle on the day. After hours, we see algorithm here buying 190, and then tomorrow we are going to gap up overall in the market. So let's see if Apple gaps up. If it gaps up tomorrow above this 200 SMA, I'm going to look for a dip to hold this 200 SMA and then a rip. Okay, so that's Apple's idea. Netflix, I actually really like, and I might actually play it. As you can see, Netflix, same type of chart. It's rounding out a little bit. Right here, this 355, why didn't it break, right? A couple of days ago, I mean, it couldn't break out 355, and then finally on Friday we gapped up over it, and then as the afternoon came, prior support now becomes resistance, and we see some algorithmic buying right here at the 355 area. Even at the end of the day, it held, and tomorrow I'm going to look for a dip. If it holds the 355 again, then I do like it for a long. Perhaps run it all the way up to the highs here at the 362.50s. Okay, so Netflix, and then finally we have MU as a side watch. MU is looking pretty nice as a breakout chart. We tested the 4150s area. Okay, so gonna watch out for that. Key double top and closing so well, I do anticipate a gap up. So if it gaps up, look for a dip to hold and then rip. If it opens flat, then look for a dip to hold 41 and then rip. 41 is obviously key support area here. Oh, excuse me, it's getting late. I apologize for yawning here. 41, I was talking about buyers coming in on here as it held, rip, even 41.10, as you can see, algorithm buying it, topped out, came down, bounce, and ripped. So 41 key psychological hold number, prior resistance now becomes support, looking for a dip and rip from 41. If it gaps up, looking for a dip and rip, and yeah, 41.50s to 41.35s area. So right around this area. Okay. So if it gaps up, looking for a dip and rip, we have a nice support zone that it's going to gap over, and then look for a buy signal here from here and take it long. Bring it all the way back up to the 200 SMA is the main goal here. Okay, basically that's it from Watchlist. I hope you enjoyed what you watched. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Do feel free to share my Watchlist as it's free and I post it nightly. And I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Have a great day. Ciao.